and on today's episode of things that I don't really want to talk about, but I'm going to anyway. Welcome back, friends. I'm sat back over here with my hot beverage, my sweatpants, and actually my Cruella de Vil socks today. And you guys know that that means that we're going to be having a little bit more of a raw, unfiltered conversation about more of a serious topic. And I keep thinking that I want to have like a specific name for these types of more chit-chat serious videos that I do every now and then, but I can't think of what to call them. So if you have any suggestions, let me know in the comment section, because I don't know, I just feel like it would be easier if these kinds of videos just had a name, you know, we could group them together. It's gonna be a little bit heavy today. And this video might feel like it's completely random and irrelevant, because it definitely feels very random and somewhat irrelevant to me, just out of the blue. But for the last month, I have just had this nagging feeling that I need to film this video, even though it is so not really relevant to where I am in my life right now or anything that I've been talking to you guys about. I just feel like I have to sit down and film it, and it's been keeping me up at night. So when I have like a sense that I have to do something like that, even if I really don't want to, I always feel like there must be a reason. So if this video resonates with you today, if it is coming to you at like the perfect time, then it's for you. That is the reason that I have been plagued night and day for the last month to make this. It's because you needed to hear this, and I just want you to know that. I also want to highlight that there are going to be references to disordered eating and body dysmorphia and instances of just extreme weight loss in this video, and while it is coming from a very pure place and I want to spread positivity and for it to be helpful for you guys, I also know that for some people who are maybe not in the right headspace to hear this right now, it could be triggering. And if that's you, then just close the video down, and if you feel like at some point in the future you want to come back to it, come back to it. But if it doesn't feel like it's going to be beneficial to you today, then don't watch it today. I don't know where to start with this, because I guess like a lot of people, a lot of women specifically, I was very aware of my weight from a very early age. I mean, like 9 or 10, I was conscious of being chubby, or, you know, being a little bigger than my friends, and I used to stress out about it. And that's something that kind of continued through my teens. And I specifically remember that this transition from when I was about 16, 17, where I was like moving out of having like a kid's body into a grown-up body, and I was gaining weight as a result of that, was a very stressful and painful time for me. This was back like in the day. So when low-rise jeans were first a thing, I've heard that Gen Z are trying to bring those back. Don't bring those back. They should never have been there in the first place. But I remember having this pair of really teeny tiny, like kid-size low-rise jeans, and when I started to gain weight when I was like, you know, aging out of being a teenager, I was just mortified, and I kept those jeans for like, I don't know, 5-6 years with the intention that I was gonna diet my way back into these jeans, these kids size jeans. In a now adult body, I thought that I could just diet my way back into a child's body. I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of how it all began, I guess. This idea that gaining weight was this awful, terrible thing. And I look back on that now and I just think, oh, that's sad. Anyway, things did not really become very problematic for me until I was, I guess the summer before I went to university. I would have been 18, I think. And I had just gotten out of a toxic relationship which had very long-lasting effects. I ended up very mentally unstable as a result, and just in a very, very dark place. I was so consumed with anxiety and having so many frequent panic attacks that I just couldn't eat. I was too nauseous, and because I was awake probably like 20 hours a day, couldn't sleep, not eating, over the course of 9 days, I think I lost something like 8 pounds. And I was already small. Like in my head I thought I was big, but I was already so small. At that period of my life and on the run up to that really bad stint of anxiety and mental health problems, I thought that I was overweight. I thought that I needed to lose weight. I thought that I needed to diet. I looked in the mirror and what I saw versus what I see now when I look back at the pictures is just worlds apart. And so I have never been diagnosed with body dysmorphia. This is not something that I've ever sought out medical help for. And obviously you can't just go around saying I have body dysmorphia, because I just feel like maybe I do. But I definitely feel like there were and have been instances in my life where I definitely displayed symptoms that would probably point towards me having something like body dysmorphia or something similar to that, because what I was seeing and the reality, two very different things. So this is a little bit all over the place, but it's difficult to talk about. I've never talked about this before. People don't know this about me. Like literally people in my life don't know this about me, and surprise, now it's on the internet. So yeah, that summer before I went to university, I was really sick. I lost all that weight in a very short period of time, and that, I guess, activated something in my brain that I then just looked in the mirror and thought, this is good. I've lost all this weight really quickly from not eating, and that is a good thing. And I don't know why. It's difficult to explain, and if you haven't experienced something like this, I don't know if you'll ever be able to really understand it. I don't understand it, and I lived it for years. I consider myself to be a pretty logical, down-to-earth kind of person, and I have no answers for you for why I felt that way. It's a mental illness, and I can't give you answers about it. Anyway, as a result of all of that, I ended up having to take, I don't remember what I was taking, some kind of anti-anxiety, or maybe it was an antidepressant. I don't remember, it was a long time ago, and to be honest, that whole period of my life is kind of like a little bit hazy to me now. But I ended up taking some kind of prescription medication, and this stuff made me balloon. And I just think it was the worst possible thing for me at that time, because as someone who is already kind of paranoid about the way that they look and has a lot of anxiety about how big or small their body is, to then have the prescription medication that makes you bigger and there's not a lot you can do to control it, it's just a self-perpetuating cycle. It felt like I had gotten better over the course of years, you know, managing my anxiety, taking up meditation, yoga, all these different things, and, you know, trying to really get to the root of what was making me anxious, what was making me feel that way, and kind of trying to just look inwardly and fix those things, and it really helped. So I came off my medication, lost all that weight, and I felt like I was fine. Genuinely didn't think that I had a problem at all. Didn't think I had a problem at all. Didn't think that I'd ever had a problem with my body image, or the fact that I had starved myself, or the fact that I was obsessively looking in the mirror and seeing something that wasn't real. I did not know. But that was a thing in my life. And over the years, I mean, if you go back and look at my videos, you can see that my weight just does this. You know, I've gone really skinny at points, then I've been a little bit chunkier, then skinny again, and that's just this cycle of freaking out about the way that I look, limiting myself and going on really strict diets of just like no food, and being obsessive about it, and then getting down to a smaller weight and then just binging and being like, give me all the food, I'm hungry, and then putting that weight back on. And that was just a cycle. And I was completely, like I said, unaware of all of this until I lived in Kuwait. And prior to moving to Kuwait, I'd started to get into like doing exercise. I'd never been someone who was interested in exercise, I just didn't care. But then once I got into cheerleading and realized like, hey, it's pretty cool to be strong, then I went to the gym more and I started to get really into it. But then when I got to Kuwait, I started to get kind of addicted to exercise. And I also was so, at that point, so convinced that I was overweight, that I was fat, that I needed to lose weight, that I had all this weight to lose, that I was just, I was just the unhealthiest version of myself. You know, there had been that time where I had been 3 dress sizes bigger compared to the way I looked when I was in Kuwait, which if you saw me, you would have thought, hey, she's really fit and healthy. Like, you can see her abs, like she clearly takes good care of herself. But that version of me was the least healthy I have ever been. I was doing like 50 minutes of HIIT 6 days a week. And I was at one point down to consuming about 500 calories a day. I started with 1200 and then I wasn't losing weight. So I went down to 900 and then 800 and then 600 and then I ended with 500. And I remember being so frustrated because I wasn't losing any weight still. I mean, I was barely eating, I was doing all this exercise and I wasn't losing any more weight, which I can now look back on and say, yeah, duh. But I reached out to one of the girls I went to university with, who actually went on to open up her own personal training business. So I reached out to her and I was like, look, I really don't understand what's going wrong. I'm working out every day, I'm watching what I eat, I'm not dropping the last 5 pounds. And she asked, well, how many calories are you eating per day? And I said 500, some days 600. And she said, your body is in starvation mode and that's why you're not losing any weight, and you won't lose any weight, and you need to make a change now. It sounds so ridiculous, right? Because like I said, I consider myself to be a very logical person, I consider myself to be an intelligent person, I consider myself to be grounded. But until that conversation, I just didn't realize that I had a problem. And that's so scary to think that I'd gone to that extreme. Like, that didn't happen overnight, that was over the course of a long time, you know, just progressively got worse and worse, and I didn't realize. And I am not here saying that, ta-da, I'm fixed now, I have all the answers, it's really easy, just figure out that you have a problem with disordered eating and the next day you wake up and you'll be cured, because it's not. And obviously it could have been so much worse. Was it bad? Yeah, it was bad mentally, but it didn't get to the point where it was bad physically, and I'm hugely grateful for that. In a lot of instances, the best thing you can do is get help. Talk to someone. If it's not a doctor, then a friend, a parent, a loved one, someone you trust, a counselor, a life coach, whatever. I didn't do that, and I think it meant that it took a lot longer for me to work through all of those things. It was a very, very gradual process. I think that it was more luck than judgment that I was able to heal a lot of that negative thinking. I think my ex-fiance had a huge role in that, because he made me feel so great about myself, whereas, you know, contrasting with that earlier relationship where I just felt terrible about myself, I feel like having that positivity and that love and support was, I don't think he's ever gonna know how beneficial that was to me. And then the flip side of that is when I went through the breakup, and suddenly all of that support and love and, you know, all of that self-worth, that sense of self-worth that I got from him went away. I had to learn to love myself from myself and not based on anyone else's opinion of me. And that wasn't easy. I'm still in that. I'm still going through that process. But I think that, combined with all the counselling I've had, and my life coach and all these different things, that came about as a result of the breakup and the everything of 2020 has really helped me. And I did not plan on ever talking about this, not because I wanted to keep it a secret. Like, it's not like I don't want anybody to know. It's just I didn't feel like I just didn't want to talk about it. I don't know, it just didn't feel like something I felt compelled to talk about. Anyway, now I'm in a good place. I mean, I don't think things like this ever really go away. I think you have to work on it every day, and I do work on it every day, but I love my body now. And I can say that as someone who has, like, I gained a bit of weight recently. I was trying to squeeze into my jeans the other day and they didn't quite do up, and I just thought, ugh, these jeans do not fit. But I didn't think anything badly about myself. I try my best to eat healthy foods most of the time, and I do still exercise like 5-6 days a week, but now I exercise out of a sense of love and respect for my body, and because it makes me feel good physically and mentally, and not because I hate my body and I want to change it aesthetically. And I am completely okay with gaining pounds, losing pounds. I don't really even weigh myself anymore, maybe like once every 4 months, just out of curiosity. I have so much more to offer the world than a flat stomach and a thigh gap. I am so much more than my body, and so are you. And look, this was uncomfortable to talk about. It was not my favorite thing to do, but if one of you guys is watching this and this can make you feel like you're not alone and can maybe give you that light bulb moment like I had talking to my friend in university, like, of, oh wait, this is not quite right, I need to make a change, then good. Then this whole uncomfortable experience of filming this was worth it. And I really do hope that this can land in the lap of whoever needs to hear it right now. And I'm done now. I'm done talking about my feelings and unpleasant experiences from the past because I don't really enjoy it. But thank you guys so much for watching. I know it was a bit of a, it was a heavy one. And probably very rambly. I don't even want to think about how long it's going to be, but if you're still here at the end, thank you. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, thank you. I can't speak words, but I love you guys, and remember that you are enough just as you are, and I'll see you next time for a bit more of a upbeat video. Okay, bye guys.
Oh my baby, got me staring at you, so I'm crazy. Won't you bend that back for me? We won't stop, got your feet both locked.